As a parent, it is very important for you to become as educated as you can with the entirety of the college recruiting process. The landscape of college baseball now is much, much different. The expectations of the college recruiting process is much different than it's ever been at any period of time prior to 2025, meaning there is not a direct path from high school to college. Now, more than ever, the pathway to college athletics, as most student athletes aspire to play at the game's highest level in college, the Division I level, NCAA, you must understand, used to be that JUCO would be the natural progression. If you didn't just go directly to Division I, you could go to junior college, then Division I. Today's recruiting landscape, you can do that NCAA Division II, NCAA Division III, or referred to as the transfer portal. Also, as I just mentioned, you can be a JUCO student athlete and transfer from your JUCO to the Division I level for college baseball. Now, you also have the ability to do a postgraduate year. And for many parents, when we start talking about postgraduate ability to attend a postgraduate school, most families assume that is an extra year of high school or repeating your 12th grade year. That's not the case, not even remotely. And the process of becoming a postgraduate student has been around for centuries. And for the last 30 to 50 years, it has been primarily used by sports such as football, hockey, and basketball. Well, now it is becoming a very prominent part of the baseball recruiting process.
How familiar were you with the opportunities that postgraduate programs would offer you, and what made you choose Deerfield?
Yeah. So my dad went to a rival boarding school of Deerfield, and he always talked about it, but I never got into it before for this year. And then I decided to do a PG year for 3 reasons. Like, I wanted more computer science experience because I want to major in that in college, and my old school didn't have any courses in that. I also like the baseball team here, and baseball program is exceptional, and I wanted more experience before going off to college. And I'm also pretty young for my grade, so I thought another year of development would help in like maturity.
The age of the college freshman for baseball is now 19 to 20. It's older. The game is older. Now, there's 2 ways of looking at that postgraduate experience, one of which is what I call the traditional gap year experience, which is less academic and more athletic centric, meaning skill set development, strength conditioning training. That can be done in a myriad of different ways, whether it's Cressy performance, whether it's driveline or tread, where your primary focus is physical maturation, skill set maturation, and the academic dynamic is kind of put on hold for a year. For many, many years, the higher level academic institutions, Ivy League, Patriot League, would encourage students to take a gap year, whether that would be traveling domestically or internationally, and kind of growing and maturing mentally, and then entering college with a different perspective as a little bit more mature with regard to the academic process. With regard to athletics, now college coaches know they need physically stronger student athletes. They need physically mature, mentally mature student athletes. So whether it's the transfer portal, the JUCO graduate process, or now the postgraduate experience, that is kind of the in-between between high school and college. And it used to be just a Division I centric mindset, but parents and athletes, you should broaden and widen your lens and understand there are different pathways to becoming a college student athlete, not just at the Division I level. So I encourage you to have a myriad of different game plans that would encompass all of those routes, whether it be postgraduate or JUCO or NCAA or NAIA schools. Pretty much the basics of college recruiting is the timelines that are associated with college recruiting. You know, we often talk about college applications, and we have terminologies such as early decision, ED, early action, EA, regular application process. And those timelines are often kind of explained by your high school guidance counselors. And many families are familiar with those time parameters. But with regard to college baseball recruiting, there are a lot of timelines that you need to be aware of. And you need to understand the importance that they play with regard to your college recruiting process. It's also important to understand that each level of college athletics, NCAA, NAIA, and JUCO, they all have different dates that are important for each level within the NCAA, NAIA, and JUCO. NCAA and JUCO have levels 1, 2, and 3. NAIA has divisions 1 and 2. So it's very important to understand the terminologies and what each level of college baseball, what those terminologies mean. For instance, contact periods. You know, the biggest thing to understand is there are dates where college coaches are able to interact with potential future student athletes and their parents and their families. And so you have different terms such as official visits versus unofficial visits. The differences are an official visit is something that you are compensated, the parents or the families are paid with regard to housing, i.e. hotels, food, tickets to sporting events. That is an official visit. And in the Division I and the Division II levels of the NCAA, they are now unlimited. It used to be in years past that you had a maximum of 5. Now you can take an unlimited number of official visits, which are paid for by the institution for your student athlete and parents. The unofficial visit, that is where you as a family can pack up the car, drive, notify a college coach or staff that you intend to take a visit. They can have a member of their staff take you around on a tour. You're going to sign a piece of paper that basically notifies the college that you and your family, you and your parents are on campus for the specific purpose of meeting with the baseball coaching staff, that coaching staff, they can't provide you housing, for instance. They may be able to provide you tickets to a sporting event while you're there. They can provide you a meal on an unofficial visit. But all of these things, there is a big difference between the unofficial and the official. Making sure that each type of these visits is clearly communicated to the college coaches and the staff as a whole, meaning academic advisors, strength coaches, so that you're able to meet the whole staff that's going to interact with you as a potential student athlete, that will allow you as a family to gain as much insight to what that college and university provides for your student athlete. This is an integral part of the recruiting process. Really, this should begin during the course of your sophomore year with regard to unofficial visits, and understanding the timelines, which I'm going to get to in a second, the timelines of when the official recruiting can begin for your student athlete. So on an unofficial visit basis, as a sophomore going into the rising junior year or junior fall, if you're going to want to go and visit a school to kind of get an idea of what the campus looks like, that is going to be an unofficial visit. And so it's really important for you to convey that to the college coaches and the staff that you are looking to take an unofficial visit to kind of gain some insight as to the campus layout and what the school is like with regard to the grounds and the amenities and facilities and so forth. This type of communication with your college coaches and the staff is going to make a strong impression, because it's going to show that your student athlete is accountable for his future and really wants to make sure that he is checking off all of the boxes, and it really helps coaching staffs know that you have a strong desire to not only attend that university, but you want to learn as much as you can about the campus, the community, and the coaching staff prior to your active recruiting process beginning. So the next part of the college process is understanding the dates and the times. And for the Division I athletic recruiting process, it is clear now more than ever, with the ages being very much older than they've ever been before. Understand that August 1st may be the date that college coaches can begin to communicate with your student athlete of their rising junior fall. Meaning on August 1st, a college coach has the ability to begin communications directly with the student athlete. And that, even though that August 1st date is out there, doesn't mean that every college coach is going to begin their process on August 1st. That is just a date when they can begin. So parents, you don't need to panic. You do not need to worry if a college coach is not interested. Some coaches wait till September. Some coaches now wait until the latter half of the fall to begin the active recruiting process with regard to visits and so forth. Don't panic, just understand that this is a time parameter that coaches are given as to when they can begin recruiting, and it allows for the late bloomers to be involved and engaged with recruiting, and it eliminates all the crazy recruiting that had gone on in prior years with regard to 8th graders and 9th graders trying to make a decision as a 14 or 15-year-old. That's the beginning stages of the college recruiting process.